into this room. Every story, every tear, every joke we share, got that joy down in the air. So we sing it everywhere. It's the BRUDDC and Kitty Christmas show. Hey! Turn it up, let that good new flow.
Trying to catch you out.
What's going on, but the love of Jesus keep us standing strong. Oh, it's the BRUDDC and Kitty Christmas show. Feel that hope in.
Good afternoon, good people. You're watching the BRUDDC and Kitty show. We're starting with a little gospel, a little choir, a little religion. Sometimes it's needed. It's needed, isn't it? And I saw something recently actually. Record numbers of Bibles being bought in the shops and stuff recently. So I feel like people are trying to turn to Christ a little bit more, turn to Jesus, turn to religion.
I think since we've been called out, if I'm really honest with you, I think since we've been called out and that everybody's been saying, well, you're not a Christian country because none of you are Christian, because none of you. But they say that it's the new Gen Zs that are buying the Bibles, and a lot of the young people that I've been talking to, they seem to want to find something. I think they need hope, if you know what I mean. I think they need something to believe in and something to sort of express to. And I think that's cool. I don't care what your religion is. If you've got a religion or you've got something that you believe in, I think it's
I must admit it's very if you're not like, I'm a very spiritual person. I wouldn't say I'm a very religious person. I'm a very spiritual. I do pray and stuff like that. But you were fine where you were on my camera, by the way. Go back. I moved it so I could see your name was in there as well. You're fine. You're central on my screen. Don't worry.
Everyone can see my little home gym in the back, and I was like, everyone can see what I was doing this morning.
Well, home gym is all good, but like I said, I'm not the most religious person and stuff about going to church, but I do pray. I'm very spiritual in terms of that. But I must admit, when you do see people that are very spiritual and you see them praying, like recently, I went to hospital to see my mum, and her cousin just turned up and speaking everything, and then her cousin said a prayer for her before she left, and just watching it, you do think, wow, that's very envious. Like, it's something it's very nice to watch people enjoy their religion, enjoy their faith, and actually believe in something. And you just compare this to people that don't believe in nothing, don't have any faith, don't have any religion. When these people are sick, I mean, Jesus, what do you do if you don't have any sense of like higher power or belief, and you think it's just you on your own? I mean, that sounds real lonely to me.
It does. I think, like you say, I think it gives people hope. I used to say years ago, before I returned back to the Christian faith, people used to say, have you got religion? And I used to say yes when the shit hits the fan. And that's when you go, oh God, please help me.
At least you're honest.
Yeah, but now I find comfort in my faith, and I think it's nice to be thankful as well. It's one thing to sort of use faith for, oh, please help me, please give me strength. But sometimes it's just nice to say thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for putting the food on the table. Thank you for making sure that I got food. And I think that's nice, to have something to say thank you to.
How long would you say, like, personal achievement wise, because I would class that as an achievement, how long would you say that's taken you to sort of get to this stage where you do say thank you for what you do have?
I would say it's been in the last 3 years I've really realised that I am thankful for what I have, and I think getting rid of what I had in my life really helped.
Yeah,
I used to really mock my faith, because I used to talk about things, and he'd be like, "Oh, shut up, it's stupid, stop it," and it made me feel stupid for having a faith and having a belief. And then when he left, I just realised that it was giving me comfort, and I needed that, and I need it still. And it's nice, like I say, to have someone to say thank you for, and
and also having that peace of not having the BS in your life. Like, sometimes when you just get rid of a whole load of BS that like people that stress you out, BS in your life, the happiness that you have inside you, like, it's just like, oh wow, you wake up every day, it's like great, like, it's amazing, really. It
is quite peaceful as well to have that. I think the way to say it, sort of that people would understand without dumbing it down, is like you've got that backup. You know what I mean? You've got someone that you can lean on a little bit. Sometimes when life gets hard, and we all have really hard moments in our life, and it's nice to just sort of say, right, I'll let the higher power take over. What will happen, and I'll just roll with it, sort of thing. And thank you for getting me through it. That's all.
Yep. Yeah, purpose. We're just starting our show. We're just starting our show, but we like to have our little home sort of monologue where we sort of just speak our truth just while we build up. So we're not robotic. We're not just coming in and just like, yes, we're talking. Yes, we are going to be talking about the Andrew Tate podcast. Andrew Tate and PBD podcast. We're definitely going to talk about that. But we're just doing our sort of, no rush sort of style of show at the minute.
Just talking about how we get through the day, really, I suppose.
How you get through the day, and we want to be more relatable to everyone. Everyone is going through these things, and it will sort of jump over to the kind of podcast because some interesting things were said. Let's just jump over to it. We're over there now. We're there. We landed. So PBD invites AT onto the podcast, and AT has got himself in a bit of a situationship again. Let's have a look quickly at the little summary of this video.
The same men seen in the club, known as controversial influencers, are also in a video from a limo. In that one, they're singing, and one of them is performing a Nazi salute.
To have people in our city celebrating this. Animals.
This is obviously not welcome in Miami Beach. It should not be welcome.
So this is Miami Beach. Apparently, it's a very highly populated Jewish community. And Myron, Andrew Tate, Sneeko. Obviously, Myron's the one that throws the HH sign, and they are seen in a nightclub listening to Kanye West's song where it says "Hail, you know who," and obviously a load of backlash. So I think PBD brought Andrew Tate in to sort of say to him, like, the gist of it was he was basically trying to say to him, you're better than these guys. Why are you sort of like, you don't need the shock factor, which is quite interesting, and AT says, he says a lot in the pod. He says a lot on the podcast. Quite interesting. He sort of, there's obviously been development and growth for sure. Like, like you said, he's nearly 40 now. So he doesn't, and he's so famous. He's so influential, not as influential as he used to be, but he's so big now. He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to do the foolishness that the other guys are doing now just to sort of stay relevant and stuff. But obviously, when you start bashing the chosen people and stuff like that, there are repercussions and consequences, and people come for you. But yeah.
When will we change? Who still listens to Andrew Tate in 2026? I'm afraid a lot of people do, and especially young men in the world seem to think that he's somebody to aspire to because he's got the fast cars, because he gets the women, because he's got all this money. He's somebody to aspire to. Unfortunately, we do need better role models, but right now he's a certain person, certain type of demographics role model. It's quite sad, really. But I hope, and this is my hope, that as he grows older, insight kicks in and he realizes that a lot of things that he said needs to be retracted and move on.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose PBD was trying to get him to sort of obviously condemn Myron, condemn Sneeko for doing all the foolishness that they done, and trying to make it trying to put it to them like this isn't a joke, that you're saluting, even if you're doing it as a joke, like the hell, blah 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 sort of stuff. Even if you're doing it as a joke, Americans whose families died fighting them. This is what I've been saying this for years, but no one listens to me. No one hears it when I say it. But like, when you get people, they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're proud Nazis," English people, American people, yeah, American youth, sort of thing. Polish people. I'm like, you do realize that Hitler took over, he invaded Poland. Killed a lot of your guys out there as well. And that he killed a lot of our parents, our great grandparents, or whatever that fought in the wars. Died fighting the Nazis, and people still think in this day and age, the young people are so entitled. They feel that they can make a laugh about it. Like, you know, that they ain't shed it. They ain't that. I don't know. They have. I don't know. It's always sat weird for me, to be honest with you.
Well, when we went to that rally, we kept seeing it, didn't we? We saw young, and it was young people. It wasn't the older. I have to say, it seemed to be the young generation that were throwing these salutes out. And I just kept thinking of all those, you know, they were probably the same age as all those young lads that ran onto the beach on D-Day. And these were real men, as far as I'm concerned. These men that ran towards bullets. And you've got idiots now, sort of 80 years later.
Well, AT does have a theory on it. Let's listen to his little theory quickly.
The actual conversation I think that's interesting to have when it comes to this is the nature of the internet and the nature of influencing in general. Because I think we're living in a world now where only shock value seems to get anybody's attention for any significant period of time because everyone's dopamine receptors are completely fried. So all of these young influencers or anyone on the internet who's trying to make any name for themselves is trying to be as controversial and shocking as possible as quickly as possible. And that's why the song was played, because it gets views. The actual conversation...
And one more.
The actual...
No, yeah, I'll find one. It's one of the videos. But yeah, you know, he's right. You know, it's all about shock value now. It's all about being offensive. And I think to myself, you know, I don't want to be that person. I don't know. Like, I'm not. Money does change everything. Money does talk, and you know, people are like, you know, wanting to earn more money in this day and age. You know, AT speaks about it on the podcast. People with money, it's easy for them to make money. People without money, it's harder. Like, you know, it's harder to start businesses up nowadays. Like, you know, it's harder to start small businesses up and start working your way up. If you've got, like he says, if you've got £1 million, it's easy to turn £1 million into £10 million. If you don't have any money, it's a problem. You know, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's easy for him to sit there and say, you know, sensationalize blah blah blah, and this is how the way the world is. But you were doing it.
That's what I mean. He's done this. We said this, didn't we? He is making those young men feel like shit. Oh, you need a Bugatti, you need 5 bitches and all this shit. Like, and he's done that, and now he's flipping the tune. They actually came. We said it back then. Like, you know, you can't. Yeah.
Do you know when I heard it? I actually thought, I'm sure he's watching us, you know, because we've been saying this all along. We've been saying that the social media is just about, you know, getting the shock value out of everything just lately. You and I have both said we don't want to go there morally. We never, ever want to. We'd like to think that we would never go there morally. You know, people showing murders and deaths and bodies and stuff like that. I don't want to be associated with any of that personally. But could I answer that if somebody's waving a £10 million check in my hand?
Yeah, but it was more the fact that he used to push out there to the young people. Yeah. You need to get yourself into great shape. You need to make yourself a whole load of money. You need to do this. You need to do that. And you know, we always just said it, like, you know, not everyone can be successful. Like, it's a physical impossibility. Not everyone's going to be successful. Maybe 10%, if they're lucky, will be successful following his models and doing what he's doing. If you've got £1 million, if you've got a big following already, you've hit the algorithm lottery, like, you know, then you do, you know, you're okay. But other than most people that try to go down his route will ruin their lives, and they'll probably end up in prison, like Vitali right now, and there's a whole load of other TikTokers, social media influencers that are rotting in jail right now. It's not going to work for everyone, like, you know, but it's like he's made his money, he's made his name being the top G by telling other men they need to aspire to do more, and they need to achieve higher and higher and higher. And still there's that sort of tone of young women, like he says it a lot in the podcast, like young men are angry. They can't get a wife, they can't get a girlfriend, they can't even get like a good night unless they have to pay for it, basically. I question who these young men are, and maybe it might be the men that sniff boxer shorts and all that sort of stuff, and buy feet pics and stuff like that. Like, you know, the kind of incel kind of guys, I suppose they're labeled as.
Yeah, but there's also those that are listening to him. Those that are listening to him are listening to this narrative that he's selling of to be you've got to be a top G, like you say, have the women, have the money, have the cars, have the lifestyle. And if you don't, you're a failure.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're a failure. So all these young men that are going out and getting jobs and doing what they're doing, they're trying to make their money. They're trying to put money down on a house, because let's face it, you can't do that these days, can you? You know, you're still living with your mum and dad, and because you're trying to, you know, the cost of living is so crazy at the moment. You're a failure. You're a failure. And then you're going out, and there are young women that are being told, like you say, every day on the internet how beautiful and pretty they are. And this normal guy goes up to them and says, "Hi, can I take you out for a drink?" No. Who are you? You know,
Uh,
and it's horrible to be a man.
yeah.
26.
I think that's true to a point, and I think that's true when it comes to certain women. I do you know what? Meeting loads of women, speaking to loads of people during these podcasts and stuff, there's a lot of women that have traditional values still, which has sort of given me faith in humanity. There are a lot of women out there still that would accept a real man. Well, not when I say real man, an average man that goes to work, does a normal job, comes home, and he's there in the house. There are a lot of women that will accept that, but still, with social media, this is what Andrew Tate says in the podcast. He says, "Look, where all you're seeing is like average people and most people are average, like whether we want to admit it or not, most people are average earners, average looking, average lifestyle, average house, average car, and then all we are seeing is Lambos, mansions, all these lovely things. You got all these TV shows and stuff like that, and some people are able to watch it and say, oh, it'd be nice, but it's not going to affect me. But then you do have some women, and I would say it's the pretty privileged kind of women as well, mainly. It's not just them, for sure, but it's the pretty privileged women, and it's also women that have been in the game too long, that have stayed in there too long, that still think they've got that pretty privilege and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah.
Somebody said to me that the other day, "Who do I think I am?" Because I turned somebody down, and they went, "Just because you're pretty and blah blah blah." I don't think I'm pretty. I just think there's something about me, right? But there are these guys that are so bitter because they can't get these women that they're seeing the likes of Andrew Tate pulling. The reason they're pulling these women is because they are more or less paying for it. I hate to point it out. They're paying for it. They're buying the handbag.
Good point. Good point. And they're ruining it for the average guys. If they were making those chicks go to work and earn their bloody money, you'd have a chance with them. But the fact that they're saying no, don't work, when you've got it, when you've got the money and stuff like that, you're like, oh, don't work, baby. You can just go work, go chill in my house. What comment we got?
Oh, I mean, I am pretty. Thank you. I wasn't fishing for compliments, but thank you. I just think that young lads, especially today, are fighting against a tide. They really, really are. They're fighting against a tide of you are a failure. You are a failure. You know, you haven't, like you say, you haven't got the car, you haven't got this, you haven't got that, you've not got women falling at your feet. Whether we like it or not, and AT, you can come for me if you want, right? You're paying for it.
100%.
But I wouldn't be in your company for free.
I think sometimes these guys. I think you know what? Do you know who feels it the most? Footballers. Footballers feel it the worst when they retire. How many times does a footballer retire and then his wife, all of a sudden, this guy's flying out, he's training 3 days a week, he's playing on the weekends. I don't really see him that much, it's just me, the house, the money, and my personal trainer, whose kid looks a little bit like me, whose kid looks like a little bit like him, and all of a sudden you've got this footballer who's retired and thinks, right, I'm going to spend some time at home. He's around the house. He's sitting there. And do you know what? These women can't stand them. They can't stand them. It's a relationship with their money, and they need to understand that. But then I suppose it's kind of love with it's conditional love almost, like conditional love. You keep providing for me and I will conditionally love you on the premise that you continue to keep earning this lovely amount of money and keep giving me all of my lifestyle that I've become accustomed to.
But it's also part of the brand. So the brand is, I'm this top footballer and I've got this beautiful wife, like you say, the Andrew Tate effect as such. I've got this beautiful women on my arms, and I'm a G. I've got this. And then you realise that you probably don't even get along with each other. You probably, just like you say, you don't get along. So all of a sudden you're in each other's company 24 hours a day, and you're like, I don't even like him. He's not even funny. He was only funny when he was buying me handbags. Now I have to put up with him 24/7. It's not happening. I'm not putting.
Yeah. Very true there. Very true. Very true. I think it's slightly different though. It's true, like, you know, he's saying, you know, a wife conditionally loves her husband, you know, on the premise that he provides as well. He stops providing, and then, you know, problems start arising.
I think as well, sometimes like social media, you've got this normal couple, and she's let's say she's decent, she's quite pretty, and then she puts a few pictures up on Instagram or whatever, and all of a sudden she's got these men and all of a sudden he's not good enough for her, and that must be so demoralizing. You know, what you was really happy one minute, and then next thing you know, the bigger brighter, and she's off. And
Yeah.
well, it would be the same for either way, wouldn't it? You know,
Monkey branching, they call it. They say women, they always have one hand on another branch, ready to sort of jump when that one breaks. that's the unglorified answer that people say. Analogy that people say.
if that's your bag, that's your bag. Do you know what I mean? It's. I personally couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, like love is like just old school love, like childhood sweethearts and stuff like that. You know, I don't know though. Because I still see it happening. I still see people like, you know, getting into relationships, meeting people and stuff, like, you know, when they're younger. I feel like what we're hearing a lot of like people. We're hearing a lot of opinions from people that maybe stayed in the game too long or have been unlucky in love, and they're sort of the ones sort of saying, you know, I'll do anything for my man now. I'll do anything. But back when they were younger, when they had that pretty privilege, when they were hitting those nightclubs, you know, bouncing from car to car and house to house and all that sort of stuff, these are the good years where you can actually find someone that wants to actually be with you, that likes you for you, rather than, yes, initially looks is important and stuff, but ultimately you don't want to lay your head next. No one wants to be around a beautiful fool, like, you know, or a shallow woman. There's nothing worse than a shallow woman. Oh Lord, when you meet a shallow woman that's all about herself, all about her own feelings, and, you know, you need to do this for me. What have you done for me lately? Kind of attitude. It's the worst thing ever, and it's ugly. It's absolutely ugly when you see a shallow woman like that.
It's really amazing, isn't it? Because you can start looking at that woman or that man and think, God, they're gorgeous. Oh, how did I get this? How did I pull this? Oh my Lord. And then that shallowness comes out, and all of a sudden they start looking ugly to you.
Yeah.
It outshines
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
side.
I mean, I scroll on TikTok, on Instagram every day looking for new guests, and I see loads of beautiful women and stuff. Why are there so many beautiful women that are single, by the way? Why? Why is all these beautiful women single?
I don't know. I think like you say, a lot of it is down to pretty privilege.
I think obviously we'll take out the trauma and abuse. We have to take that out, you know, because some women do find someone they did find their high school love or whatever, and he turned out to be an arse and beat them or whatever. But predominantly, I'm seeing so many women that are just like, it's almost like they've gone into the fantasy of options that are given to them by social media, by these sort of guys that are, unfortunately, there's a lot of desperate guys out there as well. A lot of desperate, lonely guys out there just praying that they can find love. And it's a really sad place to be. But these women are living on the fantasy of all these likes and stuff that they get from them. And maybe they feel like they're too good to give themselves to one person.
I don't know. I don't, because I
Comment. We got a comment there. Is that the answer?
because they're all looking for 1%, and the 1% don't want them. Probably.
Yep, that's true. That's very true. That's very true, because this is the problem. You've got, even though I would say women are aging like wine, they are nowadays. Like, you know, this generation of women, like the younger generation now, when they get 50 years later with all the drugs and the alcohol and all the other thing, they're not going to look nothing like it. But, you know, I would say women in their 30s to 50s now are looking quite good. They are looking really good with their makeup and all the stuff that they're doing. They look better. They look better. So
we can say that for definite with me, can't we? Because you've seen photographs of me when I was younger, and I am the official glow up girl. I have glowed up. I'm quite proud of that, you know. But I stopped drinking and doing all that stuff, and I got sober and worked out like a demon.
yeah.
So any women watching this, and you want to look good at 50 or whatever, that's what you've got to do. You've got to cut it off. You can't be living that lifestyle.
That bottle of wine every night is killing women, and is killing women. You're seeing it in some women's faces, like, you know, they are literally cracking up, and the ones that smoke, they've got that horrible witch voice as well, like, which is dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. But let's get back to that. Beautiful women, loads of beautiful women hanging around, looking for this 1% guy, which is very true. They're not. When is the reality going to kick in? And some women are thinking to themselves, they're so good, they're so beautiful, they're this, they're that, and they're waiting for this perfect man to come and sweep them off their feet. The man that they don't want them. He wants a younger woman, a man with money and stuff like that. A man with money and substance. He doesn't want a 40 or 50 or 60-year-old woman to sort of settle down with, unfortunately. He wants a young 20-year-old girl. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, he wants a young girl to sort of bear his children. Now, he don't want some old woman. And even that comes to 30 and 40 and 50 and 60 even, because the 60-year-olds are still out there thinking that they I look good too. I got my options. They're on TikTok too with their boobs squished together in that bra. You know, it'd be quite funny if you watch some of these women after they do their live and they just sort of like, shit, throwing the wig off, pulling the shit, can't breathe, letting out a bit of gas. Oh, I've been dying enough to let this out. Like,
You know, or as I like to call it, behind the scenes with me.
Yes, Kitty's good at that. Would have 40 at most.
I think some of these women have just been told far too many times that they are pretty. I think literally believing that they will be pretty for the rest of their life, and that is all they need. They are that shallow that is all they need in life. That is all they need to be pretty. When a romance, a blossoming love, it needs to be, you've got to stimulate the mind as well as the eye. You've got to be able to live together as well, because that's something as well, you know, learning to live with somebody again.
Yeah.
Are you becoming in the words of Posh Spice, two become one, and you know, you're in close quarters. Pretty isn't gonna change the toilet roll. You know, pretty isn't going to do these sort of normal.
No, good God. And this is what I was talking about. If you find yourself one of those shallow women, I'm telling you, this is why you see guys sometimes and they've got a beautiful wife and you think, wow, she must be amazing. And the guy can't stand her. He hates her guts. That's probably the case for most relationships, to be fair, at some stages. That probably does go through that. Like, you know, there is that sort of disdain for your partner sometimes. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure that's a normal thing where you can't stand them. You don't speak to them for a few days or whatever. She won't stop nagging and he won't stop putting his socks away and blah blah blah, like, you know,
the toilet seat up. There's loads, but you've got to learn that, you see, that's part of it. And I think this is why we're losing the family dynamic as well, because it's easier to just leave these days, whereas our grandparents and our parents as such didn't. They just walk out, did they? They couldn't just walk out, but now you can just go, oh, do you know what, I'm done. There's a guy, you know, user 64791, who thinks I'm lovely and wants to take me out all the time and show me off and buy me.
yeah.
Yes, he will do that for a couple of weeks and then he'll get bored of you.
This is it. This is what I was saying. This is what I was saying to someone just the other day. You know, you're going to end up a pass around, because the guy that you like, you got a lot of old women thinking, yeah, I want this young stud, big muscular guy, and kind of guy, all the rest of it. I'm like, join the freaking club. So does the 20-year-old girls. Like, how are you going to compete with that sort of, like, you know, you're not. There are men out there at the minute that are that the 1% guy or the 5 or 10% guys. 10% of the guys are sleeping with 90% of the women, like, you know, and you can't. There ain't enough of you. There's too few of them for you lot to have your pick. You know, you can have your fun with them for sure, and they will definitely have fun with you, no matter what you look like. You know, even the top guys, they will definitely have fun with you, even no matter what you look like. But they ain't settling down with you. And worst case scenario, they give you a kid accidentally, and they resent you for it, and then it's a horrible sort of foundation of relationship where, you know, from
Again,
some women,
dynamics gone. The family dynamic, and there's a kid growing up with
then
trauma.
there's the hate, and then obviously the woman, if she's smart enough, she can grab a load of his money as well, which brings more resentment and more hate and more conflict. But
another thing is that men don't grow up as quickly as women. So whereas women at 25 are ready to settle down, some of these young women, men aren't. Me and my mum used to talk about this, and we used to say that men, when they get to about 35, 40, that's usually the age when they go, right, I've had fun, I'm going to settle down now. And, you know, I mean, some of them don't, but I think, and I think it's a scientific fact as well, something to do with the medulla. And could be
35, 40 is too late. Even for pretty privilege, I think it's too late, because some, you know, the habits that you would have built. I mean, if you don't get me wrong, because we all assume all women, if they're not in relationships and stuff, and they are choosing their career, that they're out in the clubs living life and blah blah, blah, and sleeping around. I've met so many women that wouldn't dream of that are really old school. Like, you know, I've even pushed them. Like, you don't even have no one night stands. They're like, nah, like, you know, I don't do one night stands. I'm looking for a man. Like, you know, I'm looking for a husband. I'm not that kind of part. It's not that kind of party, you know. So there are some really traditional women out there. Unfortunately, those women do have women have requirements for you to live up to, and not a lot of men can actually live up to them. So I suppose what we need to do is we need to get it to a point where women are happy are happy with the average guy, because that's what you're going to get stuck with no matter what. 10% of you will be lucky enough to get wined and dined, and maybe 5% of you will be lucky enough to get the ring off a guy.
I just think, you know, when you fall in love with somebody, it doesn't matter what they look like, because, you know, like your friend will always say to you, "What, him? You're with him?" And you're like, "Yeah, I think he's gorgeous." You see, the thing is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and if they're a nice person as well, it's even better, isn't it? Do you get what I mean? That's how love starts.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that what some people call average is going to, like you said, going to be really, really sexy for somebody else.
That's it as well. It's also the argument that a lot of women use that are on social media. I might not be your cup of tea, but so and so likes it, so fuck off.
Half of India right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. The complaints from that is that obviously they're not interested in women in that region. They're interested in the other sex, you know. So, yeah, that's the frustrating part. So where do we go then? Where do we go? How do we make it so that young men can start feeling like they have some sort of, that they're good enough to get a woman? Because if you've been listening for AT for all these years, and he's been telling you need this to get a woman, you need to make 100 grand a year, you need to make £1 million, which isn't really true, to be honest with you. Most people are average and they earn 30 to 40 grand a year. They can get a wife, they can get a girlfriend, no problem. Yes, there'll be a little bit of envy from women and stuff like that, from some women, but not all women are materialistic like that. Most women in this day and age, I tell you, most women just want a guy that's loyal, ain't gonna beat their ass, ain't a psychopath, and you know,
We'll try and keep it in your pants. That's basically. Do you know what I mean? Just try.
yeah. Do you know what struck me as well? The only people that won't be struggling with the only young men that won't be struggling with this dynamic are people of faith, and people like, especially Islam. Like, you know, they don't have to. Yeah, no worries. Kitty will be right back, guys. Just give us a second. But yeah, you know, in some. Oh, you back?
Yeah, it's only
Oh,
me.
cool. Oh yeah, I was just making sure that you weren't compromised.
It's good, mate. Can I have a little? I have a dinner for Polly.
Yes, we're going to buy some tomorrow. Okay?
Not a short one.
Not short ones, baby.
Just an ordinary.
Yeah, we'll go to the shop and you can show me which ones you want.
Her daughter's just coming, guys, so just bear with me. Why am I the only person talking? I don't know, buddy, but you're doing good, buddy. You're doing good. You're whipping out the chat in here. People are coming in and coming out. We are live on like 5. We are live on like 8 platforms at the minute at the same time, and unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't always come through on the chat. So you'll have to just keep doing what you're doing. It's working, buddy. Anyway, it's working. It's important anyway. You've dropped some valuable sort of points in there, which is good. Yeah.
I just think that we've got to have better role models. I'm really hoping that Andrew Tate will turn a corner.
No, he seems like he has. He generally seems like he has in the podcast. He generally seems like he had, but it's too late. He's already caused a lot of problems. The Southport riots. The people that he's stoked to go and take their country back. The ones that are rotting in prisons, the ones that killed themselves. He's got blood on his hands. The young men. This is what I said back in the day. I said, when you put these sort of extra pressures on men, yes, you've done great from it, Andrew. You've done fabulous. You've made a whole career of being positive, of being nonchalant, being chauvinistic. Yeah, men, you ain't shit unless you got this, unless you got that. You've done that, and you've made a big career. You've made a big name from it. But guess what? How many men have killed themselves because they don't feel like they're worthy enough for this life, because they failed in their business because you told them they're a failure and all that sort of stuff like that. This is what I said back in the day. I said this very clearly. I said, you're gonna hurt more men than you're gonna help. 100%. Like beauty standards, if you've got a massive fashion icon telling women that they need to be skinny again, they need to start getting their backside popping, getting their boobs done, and blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, with social media, people listen, especially young people. And now, now you're turning around and saying, look, only 10% of you can actually do this. And we said this back then, not everyone can be successful. And who's gonna console those dead men that have killed themselves, Andrew? It's too late. And also as well, you stoked those riots up in Southport. What about those people of color that were being attacked? I can never forgive you for that. Because of your lie that you told on social media about it being an immigrant that came over on a boat. When you've got influence the way you have, you've got responsibilities, but you didn't care. You just wanted to be funny. Like you thought it was funny. But those men that are killing, those men that are in jail, ruin their lives. Sorry.
No, I just think, like you said, we need better role models. I hope he's turned a corner. I hope he's going to be. What did he say to Bonnie Blue? I hope you don't find faith. He was talking to her and he was like, in a couple of years' time, I don't want to see you being christened or whatever. But I think, people can sort of, hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? You grow up and I think Bonnie Blue will do the same. She's realised.
Everyone will. Everyone changes as you grow up. Even Bonnie Blue, it'll get to a point, and I'm pretty sure she's probably nearly there now anyway. You make so much money, she'll probably catch some sort of horrible disease, really hurt her, because there's diseases that you can do screening, and there'll be things that affect women, they're like these. She will change. Everyone changes as they get older. Mia Khalifa was exactly the same, and she totally turned the corner. But
I can say that in my youth I might have been, let's say, a bit fruity, and here I am at 50 something, and I wouldn't even, I'd go back and have the laughs that I had, but some of the heartbreak and hurt, because I was doing what I was doing, I was doing.
Yeah.
I wish I could change it all, but here I am, like you say. And now when I talk to younger girls, I try to sort of say to them, look, you're going to look back in this in a couple of years, and you're going to hate what you've done to you. What you need to do is
they will. The thing about it is, though, this sort of like the ultimate rock bottom for a man, he ends up at a certain age, no kids, no children, no nothing. It's not the same because unless you got money as that guy, it's not the same for women, because even a 90-year-old woman can go on social media in a G-string, no matter what she looks like, and there'll be a whole load of men to spend time with her and give her that validation that she wants, just to sort of make her feel like she's not a total piece of shit, basically. I was thinking about the other day, you see some of these girls, they're literally bums. If they weren't able to sell their body, They are literally bums, some of them, like, and you see them, they're drug addicts. They, don't even make no effort with themselves. They don't even make they don't even make no effort. Like, they are like, if they were guys, they would literally be the rock bottom bum, but because women have that thing between their legs and them things on their chest, men are always going to want to bite them, and that's it.
I saw a video today of Katie Price in a podcast, and she looks dead behind the eyes.
Yeah.
She just looked dead behind the eyes, and I thought, what a sad, horrible place to be in right now. You've had all this fame, all this, this glory, all this money. You've filed for bankruptcy. You've been married. You've got these beautiful children, and there you are. You're dead behind the eyes, and it's so sad. It's so sad.
Yeah, and the thing is with her is she's still dancing to the music at the minute. Like, she's still dancing to the music. Keeps banging out these husbands. What she needs to understand is her past has killed her for anything serious. She ain't gonna find nothing serious from a guy of note. Why is a guy of value, guy of fame, guy of a name, guy with money gonna want to take Katie Price seriously? The guys that are gonna want to go there are gonna want to go there to try and boost up their careers, or like, she's gonna get like the lower level celebrity kind of guy. She needs to accept that, but she doesn't have to accept it, because she'll still have the guys that want to sleep with her, and maybe they're not going to say, Katie, I just want to sleep with you. They're going to say, Katie, I want a relationship with you. Sorry, I missed a couple of comments there, Katie. You're going to take us from there?
It's all about the role models that are pushed out there. Yeah, when you have the kinds of role models we have today, then we shouldn't be shocked about what we're seeing. Well, this is what we're saying. The likes of Andrew Tate and Myron and all them. They're people's. These are young men's role models.
Yep.
Do you know, if my son came home to me and said, "Mum, I think Andrew Tate's great," I don't know what I'd do. I'd feel like a failure. I'd feel like a failure.
I think with anyone, you can take what they say with a pinch of salt. Like, you can take a little bit of, okay, he's a little bit right there. I'm not gonna lie, there are some things about getting fit, men looking after themselves, men like trying to do better in terms of the very basics of like looking after your body health and stuff like that. That alone will boost you up the social, like the dating market. Like, ugly guy, great body, a woman's going to say, right, he's not the best looker, but he's got a great body. Do you know what I mean? It's something like, so, there are some messages from the sort of manosphere that you can take, but everything causes more harm. Like, you can tell this goes to men and women. You can say to everyone, like, yeah, get yourself in great shape, look after yourself. The moment you start telling people that they're a piece of shit for not being in shape, guess what? Okay, maybe 30% of people start some fitness, start doing something. But as human beings, we know most people ain't going to do something. They're going to say, yeah, I'm starting tomorrow. I'm going to the gym tomorrow, and I'm in there tomorrow. Most people are tomorrow people.
Yeah.
So even that aspect alone, like body shaming men, is going to put pressure on them. And then men at the minute, men are in a very volatile place. Like, the men are very lonely. Like, to see the amount, like all these women just starting OnlyFans and all the rest of it, like, and all these men sort of like simping up to them. Like, some women are good in the industry, they're good, and some women are going to take you for every penny. And you got to find the right creator to sort of, sub to. But
do you think as well the reason young men are leaning towards the Myrons and the Andrew Tates of this world is because of lack of father figures in the house?
Of course, father figures or role models, like someone was just saying, father figures or role models. It's very, for me though, guys, I don't want to say, I shouldn't say this, but I've never been that kind of person that looked up to people in that sort of, like, I've just never been that kind of, like maybe Cristiano Ronaldo when I was younger, we're around the same sort of age, like, wanting to be a footballer or something like that, a sportsman or something. But I've never said to myself, I want to be like, this so-and-so says this. So I'm even Cristiano Ronaldo, if he was talking some shit and telling you had to do this, you had to do that, and blah, 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 putting all this stuff, I wouldn't be following him like that. I'm not a sheep. Unfortunately, maybe, I don't know, like, COVID might have really and COVID and social media and technology, like, we never grew up with that sort of thing as a main vocal point in our life. Like, as these young people today, everything is social media. When we wanted to go see a friend, we walked a mile, we walked 2 miles, we went to a phone box, begged our, found 20p, put it in the phone box and called our mates a house phone. And we said, yeah, I'll meet you over here really quick. And, that was better.
Yeah, most people are sheep. You're right.
It's sad. I can't be that person. I don't care who you are. You could be, you could be the greatest person ever that I aspired to, that I looked up to, whatever. You start telling me nonsense, like, I'm gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, that's a bit mad.
Was she like that when you was younger, though?
Excuse me, mummy.
1 second. Yes, darling.
Where are the orange juice?
The orange juice is in there, but I didn't get any lemonade yet. Okay, I'm going to get it tomorrow with you.
Really?
Yes, we're going shopping.
No, going to the cinema?
Yes, darling. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Sorry, my orders.
Yeah, COVID changed things a lot for sure. 100%. Yeah, I've removed you from the screen for a second. Just tell me when it's safe.
It's safe now.
Okay. Just a quick Kitty, do you want to tell him?
We'll be going.
Yeah, I'll say, actually, because it might be a bit awkward. Kitty has a daughter with autism, and she likes to walk in front of the camera sometimes without any clothes on, so we have to swing her out occasionally.
Yes. Mimi?
We can still hear you though, Kitty, though, so you can still speak if you want to, if you're okay to.
I think that the lack of role model for young men is discussing, and I put it down to the fact that there's no father figure. They're so vulnerable at a young age. To not have that father figure, you can bring me back in now. She's run off.
Okay, she's run off. Yeah. It's her daughter. She's got autism. She really suffers with autism.
We have like the naked run.
Yeah, occasionally she runs. Occasionally she runs across the screen naked, and we have to sort of just pull Kitty out.
Me go like that, or
yeah.
That's why I actually closed the curtains, because I thought if I close the curtains, you don't want to close them.
Yeah. But, we were speaking about sheep mentality, sort of sheep mentality, people following the herd, and we spoke about it at the rally, didn't we?
Yeah, I was asking whether you were like that in your younger years, though.
Never. Always. I've never been a follower. Never been that kind. Never been that kind of follower. Someone says, yeah, you need to be doing this, and you follow them. Never. I might have obviously gone to places where people have said, yeah, let's go there. It might be a bit of fun. I've done that for sure.
You may have followed a trend, but you
never like this. Never like this. Like, never been. I just see it as like I was about to say. We went to the Tommy Robinson rally and we was watching the little kids, the young boys, as the people were speaking, and their faces, they were like in a trance. They were like, yes, this is it, yes. Like I'm just like, good lord. I don't care even if you're saying the right things to me. No one's getting that kind of rise out of me, but this is the thing. The young people of the day feel so insignificant, so isolated from the world, so, I don't know, away with the fairies almost, or so far away from their goals, what they want to achieve. And AT actually says in the podcast that if these young men were able to get wives, have families, get decent jobs, they wouldn't feel the need to be so blame the Jews sort of thing at the minute.
Yes, but he told them that was a failure.
Yep. See? You see what I mean? This is it.
Mind up, man.
This is equivalent to Bonnie Blue in 10 years' time telling young girls that they need to stop doing what they're doing, stop selling their bodies. That is the equivalence of Andrew Tate today.
Oh, my Lord. You were the one that told them they were failures. You were the one that said if you don't drive a McLaren and you've got several women on your arm, you are a failure. If you haven't got millions of pounds in the bank and you are doing this, that, and the other, and your name is out there, you are a failure. And now you're telling us, oh, make it make sense, man.
We've got a comment, Kitty. We've got a comment for you.
Got no money, no car, no job, still live at home at 40. Any tips?
Yeah.
Just go find a nice woman.
Do you know what I would say? I would say find peace with yourself. Find peace with yourself. Like, don't stress, don't worry. Don't like put too much pressure on yourself. Like, there are things that you can do to make yourself more appealing for sure. But it also depends why you're single. You might be single at 40 and live at home because you like to have fun with, like, you like to have fun with the girls. Like, you haven't just found that one you want to settle down with. It does come for sure. It will come, and it will come at the strangest times. And be open to different norms, like, different tastes.
When you're not looking, I'm telling you now, when you're not looking, when you least expect it, that's when it hits you. That's when you walk into it, and it's shocking. It can put you in shock.
Okay. Oh, you think it's a woman that wrote it? Oh, it's Karen, I suppose. Karen, is Karen, are you a woman? Thank you, brother. That was good advice. Be safe. I think it's a guy.
Yeah. But it's you just got not to hate yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Thirdly, whatever you
All men, young men, I think the message we need to put more messages out to young men. Young men today, get off your fucking phones. That's simple. Honestly, get off your phones and start living your life, like really living your life, walking some places, like, go for a walk every day, like, join some clubs, like, maybe even try and find some sort of spirituality, like, and you can experiment, go around and see what works for you, and you'll meet people there. Like, nothing will bring you to Christ quicker than a lovely, holy, sort of righteous woman with great morals and religious, and really religious. Like, people forget that. That used to be the old thing in the church, in the black community, to say, you want to find a good woman, go to the church. That's what you used to say. Like, you want to find a good woman, go to the church, you'll find one there. Like,
I've told you before, here in Nottingham, we've got quite a forward-thinking church, and it does online services on a Sunday and things like that. And at night, it's called the Trent Vineyard. And, they've even got a bar in the church.
Yeah.
Like social evenings and things like that. They've got a bar and they have discos and things like, it's like a club scene. And this is what the churches need to do. They need to bring it into 2026. They need to bring
for sure. And I think that needs more promoting. I feel like a lot of people, we need to find. Well, first thing, people need to unite together as well. Like, people need to unite. Stop. Like, the worst thing you can do is blame someone else for your problem. It's like when black people blame slavery for their problems. Like, you just want to slap them sometimes. Like, it's like, it used to be a meme in the sort of community. Slavery ruined my whole life. Like, come on, man. We're in 2026 now. Like, you live at home and you're peeing your mattress still because. Because you made some wrong choices somewhere. Like, it's interesting that we laughed at a few things. An incident's happened. I haven't got the full story, but a woman assaulted a man on a train, sexually assaulted him on a train. I'll find the story. I will dig the story up eventually. And people are obviously posting about it on social media, and there's a lot of laughter there. A lot of men are laughing at men, and they're like, why are you reporting this for? Like,
if it was the other way around, we'd be kicking off. You can't touch a woman like that. But
you
shouldn't be a man
but
like that.
It's considered less. It's considered less manly, though. It's considered less manly or something. I don't know. Like, to sort of like, men would lose respect for you, especially on in the public eye. If I was to go on social media saying that a woman grabbed my junk on the train and I started crying and I started crying, or I felt really emotional, just the way a woman would. If I acted like if a man comes on the train, you've had a long day at work, he grabs your snout, like you're going to be very upset by it. You're going to be very emotional. If a guy was to act exactly the same way, he would be mocked on social media.
Do you know, it's ridiculous. The double standards are just absolutely really ridiculous. When we will change, I can't do it today, my religious beliefs, because I've got to go and do something in a minute.
Yeah,
but
for sure. We are in the process of wrapping up. But what I would just say about... No, actually, do you know what? Follow us. Join us for tomorrow's show at 2:30. We're live every day at 2:30 on any platform which you found us. We're live on like 10 platforms at once all the time, and sometimes the comments don't always come in here, guys, as well. Unfortunately, YouTube is favored and Facebook is favored, but Kick and all the rest of them are a bit challenging. But guys, thank you very much for today. Kitty, thank you very much. Great chat as always. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, buddy, as well. Put the notification bell on. We try not to spam. I'm joking. We don't spam. All right, guys. Peace and love to you guys. Everyone have a lovely day.